What's up, everybody? I'm Joe Longo. It's 30 Days of Inspiration. Today's day 27, and I'm talking with Robert Sturman. I have to do a little intro because Robert and I did a Skype call because our first conversation in New York just didn't work. The audio was too bad. So we did a little Skype. We tried to get a little creative with our editing, but who knows? It's a little wonky. Conversation is great, though. Robert shares a lot of stories about his work, how he got into some of the work that he does. And if you stay to the end, there's one of the best testimonials you'll ever hear about me and my work. It's great. It's hilarious. It's making me laugh right now. So listen all the way through. It's great. Be inspired. If you would like to help Robert keep doing what he's doing, there's a fun little donate button on his website. Go find that, hit the donate button. And if you watch all the way to the end, you'll learn, if you didn't know, that there's also a donate button on my page too. Feel free to click that. Anything helps. It helps to keep this going. It helps to keep me creating and doing what I love and sharing all these awesome people with you. This has been a blast. Only a couple more days left. Enjoy the conversation with Robert, and now into that intro.
What's the weather like there?
It's nice today. It's been super hot. Super hot. What about over your way?
We're having a major heat wave.
Really? That was all the heat that was just here.
Chai's smart, though. She finds the fan.
See, Stella goes right outside and lays in the direct sunlight.
Well, whenever Chai does that, I just bring her back in. I think it's the stupidest thing ever.
Stella loves it. She loves the heat. She's from an island, you know.
She starts to pant like she's going to die.
Oh, yeah. Stella doesn't. Stella literally just lays there and just enjoys everything. So you got one of your shirts on? So we're jumping right in. I don't know how to start this. How's everything? Everything look okay? I like that painting.
That painting is from my buddy who I met when I was in India. We traveled together.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't have a good backdrop behind me, just some doors.
Looks good to me.
And my nice soft light. You see how you do this right here? You just put a nice little white sheet against the window.
Oh, that's beautiful. It looks like blue light. That's the kind of light they tell me to think about when I meditate in the morning.
The blue light?
Yeah, that's what I always hear. Make sure you're self-surrounded by. I would think that's what it looks like. What you have right there.
What I'm sitting at.
I needed that pillow.
There you go.
Is this live?
Like live streaming? No. I'm recording though.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know how to live stream like this yet. Baby steps. Baby steps. So we'll just chat about all the things.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Sounds good. Well, hopefully we both look very handsome.
Oh, we definitely look handsome.
All right.
And I'm sure everybody thinks that we look handsome.
Of course.
So this is very exciting. I really thought that you were going to be like the second person that I did this with. And now you're like third to last.
Hey, that's all right.
It is all right.
Technical bumps in the road.
Right. But here we are in a nice controlled environment, talking across the world. Well, at least the country. What do you want to talk about? The state of the universe? Life?
Whatever you throw at me, my brother, I will do my best.
All right. Well, I feel like I should at least say, this is Robert Sturman, photographer, artist, extraordinaire. So thank you for doing this with me. I appreciate it. Tell us, where did it start? Where did the humanitarian work start?
Well, it's so interesting that you say that. None of this is rehearsed ever, but it brings me to an interesting story that when I first did start out photographing yoga and celebrating yoga, it was around the time that social media was unfolding.
MySpace or Facebook?
Right, MySpace was the one at the time. That was there. I don't even remember what that was. But I am considering going back to it.
I think it may have changed a little, but.
All right. So, but I remember though, I always had like a slight humanitarian string to my work ever since I became an artist at 14 years old. But I remember when I started posting pictures of yoga on social media that there were a lot of people that would comment in a nasty manner about skinny bitches and all that. So and it was actually quite cool because a lot of the images that I first started to do were of fit human beings that were devoted to a practice, and that's just what was happening at the time. But I think with all those nasty remarks, it actually went into shaping me to become much more conscious of the entire world that was practicing. And so it actually pushed me into seeing the whole picture of it and to photographing every type of human being on the planet. And yoga really was just an excuse to photograph all of humanity using this beautiful figurative poetry that I could see someone like Michelangelo being obsessed with, because it's such a heart-opening, longing gesture towards something greater, towards being better. So I think you asked the question, how did it all start? It started because I wanted to bring more yoga into my life. And this is probably when I was around 30, so maybe like 18 years ago. And I grew up in Los Angeles, so I'd always been around yoga. It wasn't anything that was I had to get used to, like unlike so many other places in the world. And so I'd always gone to a class here and there, but it wasn't until I was 30 that I took a trip to India. And when I got there, I started at the Osho resort, meditation resort. And right when I walked in, there was a huge sign, and it was a quote by Osho, and it said, "The way of the creative." It said something to the effect of, to be creative is to be in love with life. You can only be creative if you love life so deeply that it becomes natural to offer a poem here, a painting there, a dance there. So that's basically what happened. I saw that in my education. I'd gone to graduate school and really I realized that all of my heroes in the history of art, for the most part, lived lives of self-destruction. So the more I thought about that myth and that story, and that I didn't want to be a part of that story, the more I was drawn to yoga. And reading that sign that we could create from a place of joy and a fulfilled life, and it could be an expression of a life that I was already living, I realized that the real art was making my life work. And then the work could be an expression of that. And so I realized that I'd heard that you could, they talk about sitting still in the fire and breathing and just being still and not going anywhere. And so I tried yoga, like really tried it. And I realized that it could be a great companion for me on my journey as an artist. And then as I embraced it, I looked around and I noticed that it was the most exquisite figurative poetry that I'd ever seen. And in my studies of the history of art, I'd never seen human beings doing such sacred, beautiful, devoted gestures towards the divine. And so it became my muse.
Beautiful. And what got you into the prison?
Well, I stabbed a guy, and then
well, of course.
Well, it was just, I used to, the first 8 years of me photographing yoga, or 6 years or so, I was using a Polaroid process. Mm-hmm. And what that meant was, the Polaroid was an instant, a camera that, a lot of people don't really even know this, that they see the cameras at Urban Outfitters, and it's kind of making a comeback and everything. But so the camera, you take a picture, and the film would come out and develop on its own. But on this one type of film, there was a glitch, and it didn't dry as quickly as they would have liked it to. And so what that did was it gave artists the opportunity, hey Stella,
to
use, right when the image came out, I would warm it up in the sun or on a stove or wherever I was at the time, or under my jacket. And then I could use tools like dental tools and pen caps to carve into the surface of it and create a very painterly photograph with it. So I did that for years.
I remember those.
Polaroid announced that they were closing their doors, and they went out of business. So I had to buy a regular camera, like the one that I used in high school. But it was the digital era already. So I bought a digital, a Canon Rebel, which I used for years.
So you jumped right from Polaroid into a DSLR.
That's right.
You played around with the little SLR stuff, though. Like old, yeah. But it was like right from Polaroid right to the digital world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
But what that trained me to do was, because the Polaroid was such a temperamental machine, the lighting had to be perfect. Everything was very conditional. Mm-hmm. The conditions had to be just right in order to create a masterful image. And then I would have to carve it. So it trained me to take it very seriously, because you don't want to just shoot 5, 7, 9 pictures, because it's like $1.50 an exposure. Mm-hmm. So it trained me to start to develop the concept of the yoga of seeing, where I could really see something, feel it, be with it, compose it, push the button, and get it, rather than guess, rather than being like a photographer that might need to take 720 images in order to hopefully get one decent picture. That, I never subscribed to that point of view, and the Polaroid taught me that.
Yeah.
So right when I started to use this digital camera, which was like going from trying to run a marathon in a pair of high heels to getting my first pair of Nikes, I was trained. This camera could do it was doing all the work for me. So as I was transitioning, a warden contacted me, because someone at a prison in Northern California liked my yoga work, and they had just started a yoga program. And she asked if I would like to come in. She invited me to come in and document the growing yoga program there. And from there, I got the attention of the Prison Yoga Project, and I also did a project with the Africa Yoga Project in the prison that they go to. And it just became something that I really fell in love with, because I realized that photographs actually have the potential to change the world. They always have. We're getting into video, and there's so many other mediums, but still, the still image, what it became to me was an idea. And if it's a good idea, which I wanted to focus on good ideas, then I could make powerful images that people could feel. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was humanitarian, to have this great idea that people could feel, because when people feel that message, they remember. So when I first started to go into the prisons, it was very shocking to people. Like, whoa, are you kidding me? People do yoga in prisons. What is this? And then over time, as enough people saw and felt the images, it became the new normal. Like, it's very hard to find people, especially in the yoga community, that aren't aware that there's yoga going on in the prisons.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized then that this magic box could actually influence evolution. And that's how the humanitarian work really evolved.
It's amazing. On your shirt, if you lean back a little bit.
Yep, this is
that's one of the images.
This is one of from the first time I ever visited the prison. It's called Cell Block D Sukhasana, and it was in Northern California. And yeah, so I made a few of these just for fun to help support the humanitarian work.
Mm-hmm. So that image on there, did they give you free reign to walk around that prison that day? Or was it like, because so the people know I was just with Robert, well, not just, in April I went to San Quentin, and we photographed and filmed a yoga class. But that was it. And we got to walk through the yard. I mean, it was an amazing experience. But that image seems real, especially with the guy standing at the top of the steps and the other guy walking away. It's like,
I had a lot more free. San Quentin's a lot stricter, but I was with the prison psychologist. So yeah, and the warden walked around. We never met the warden when we went to San Quentin. We were with Lieutenant Sam Robinson.
Right.
So there's a lot more red tape there, and there's a lot more people coming into San Quentin that want to do stuff. So they're a little stricter. But this one, they don't have as many people coming in to film, so they made a big deal out of it and really rolled out the red carpet for me. And they did. There was one moment. It was the first time I ever went into this one. It was in Tracy, California. And there was one moment where the guards were organizing things, and this was after the class that I took this picture. They said, is there anyone in the class that you'd like to do some pictures throughout the prison with? And he was one of the people that I chose, just because I connected with him, and he had a beautiful practice, and he just was like just this badass. Everything about him looked like just badass, and I wanted to make a series with him. So they had him and me sit on a bench, like on the line in the hall, and the guards were all organizing stuff and figuring out where we were going to go. And then they said, just stay there with us. And I looked at them, and this is my first time in prison, so I don't know the rules. I've only seen a lot of TV shows and everything, and in TV shows, like I've been watching Oz, and Oz is the show where they were just killing everybody, So I that was a moment where I was like, I looked at them, and they looked at me and laughed, and they said, and they probably get in trouble, it's been so many years, but they said, you're safer with him than you are with us.
Good point. So then, how did all of your military work come about?
The military work came about because I was doing some shoots up at in the Hudson River Valley, and one of the people that signed up for a shoot, Major Missy Rizal in the Army, she asked if she could do it in her uniform. And I thought, okay, why not? It's her shoot. She could do it in her uniform. And I also thought it would be very cool. But I had no idea the impact it would make. So she showed up in her uniform. We made a few pictures. This is probably about 6-7 years ago. And I started to post them, and the response was beyond. And so I realized, like, okay, wait a minute, this magic box, this camera, with the right intention, can change the world. And so then what happened was different people in the military started to approach me and ask me if I would like to do a shoot with them. And of course I said yes. So I started to accumulate a pretty major body of work. And that got the attention of some of the major organizations connected with the military that are doing projects with them, and they started to bring me on base. And they started to have some of the devoted yogis dress up, like in their finest military dress blues. And so that led to the Pearl Harbor Yoga Project, and it just one thing led to the next, and I realized that it was amazing. But through all of this, there's all kinds of other things that are happening too. Even though it's humanitarian work, there's a lot of personal reasons for this work, like the prison work. Like I'm contemplating freedom and working with that. And also at the same time, when people say they don't like the yoga world or they're displeased with the yoga world, I feel that the yoga world is the world. It's not this one little aspect that people get upset about that's maybe a little too pretty, or about leggings or whatever it is that people are having a strong reaction against. I find that the yoga world is the whole world, from police officers to firefighters to doctors to house painters to soldiers, veterans, prisoners, breast cancer survivors, photographers like yourself.
It's all
It's
of
the whole
us.
world. And it's a great excuse. Photographing yoga is a great excuse to photograph the entire world.
That's beautiful. So, what's next? What does Robert really want to do? That's a hard question. And kind of loaded.
It's a very easy question. I'd like to continue to do the humanitarian projects and speak about them and show images about the impact that yoga has on trauma, and prove that it's working, that this art is working and helping people, because these people that I photograph are the first ones to stand up and talk about how it's the only thing they've ever tried that has helped them to be able to deal with the immense horrors that they've experienced in the world. We've all experienced stress and trauma. So, and I'd like to make a living speaking about that, showing the work, making books about it, having exhibitions about it. I could fill a museum and move people with these images and with the discussions about it and the testimonials from people. So that's what's next for me.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to see those books and see you on that stage talking about all of this. If you can give an inspiring artist, yogi, person a piece of advice on how to, and when I started this almost 30 days ago, it'd be like, how to keep going in your, in the direction to follow your bliss or passions. But how about just to keep going?
Yeah.
A little bit, because it could be anything. Because I know we talk a lot about, people look at our lives from the outside, and we can curate our life to look as beautiful as we want. But no one really is seeing what's inside. And I think all of us have that struggle. If you're a creative or a yoga teacher or a manager in an office, we all need some kind of something to help keep us going.
The only, I think that I'm learning every day, but most recently what I've learned and embraced is that the only way to keep going is self-mastery from within. That's why it's such a gift that we have this thing called yoga, that we can explore that and work on every day in our meditation. But, you can't slack off, because it's easy to become hopeless. It seems at times that the whole world, especially if you watch the news, that the whole world is conspiring for us to jump off the bridge, whatever it is, or just not to be inspired to go out and make a living or to follow your dreams. So I think that the only way to keep going is to really have just more than ever just deep self-respect.
So, along with your yoga practice, do you have a meditation practice? Do you practice meditation?
I do, in a less formal way than somebody who sits at the same time every day.
Mm-hmm.
I make time to turn off the phone
Mm-hmm.
and to just sit still. But it's not a set time,
Right.
and I really enjoy the last half hour of every yoga class I take. That silence,
Mm-hmm.
and I just try to live my life with that. Like the same way I live in a place near the ocean, and I try to appreciate the life that I. It's never a life where I need to go on vacation.
Yes.
So it's not a life where I need to meditate. It's just an easygoing, meditative life. So back to your question about keeping going.
Yes.
There's a lot of toxins out there. Just a tremendous amount. Whatever it is that is bringing you down, that you're being brought down by, and is lowering your vibration. To consider maybe letting go of some of those, so that you can operate on a very high functioning warrior level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have anything fun and exciting lined up? You're going to be on the East Coast again sometime soon, right?
Mid-September, back on the Intrepid.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Nice.
So maybe I'll see you in New York again.
Yeah.
But no, I've cut back on traveling for now, while I can just wanted to develop some things and not be on the go so much.
Right.
Oh yeah, I'll be on the East Coast in 2 weeks in Asheville, North Carolina.
Right, that festival.
That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Got it.
What festival is that?
I'm teaching there at the Asheville Yoga Festival, and also booking a few private shoots.
Nice. So you're staying just down in that area of...
Yeah. Yeah, the touring days are over. I got tired.
I hear you. It is tiring.
Yeah. And with all the billions and billions of photographs out there, it's really had me tap into the concept that our less is more.
Mm-hmm.
Do what we do with mastery.
Yes.
Don't need to do a million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to do this for round 2 with me. Since the first one was too windy.
It was so cold and windy.
Yeah. Anything else? When are we going to see the first Robert Sturman book?
I have a few books, but I just
sure you may have them sitting in your house.
This one is already done.
Look at that.
The Pearl Harbor Yoga Project, and it's just this beautiful book, and with all their testimonials about how yoga has helped them. Really special book, and there's
that's beautiful.
a time soon when,
that's
just got to get some funding for it, and I'm sure I could do a GoFundMe and get the whole thing going, because this is really this movement has just started. I've been contacted by one of the major yoga publications for a cover on this theme. So it's just beginning, because they know it works.
Right. Awesome.
And people are suffering because of war.
Yes. We don't want that, right, Stella? All right, my friend. I appreciate you. I appreciate your creativity, your inspiration.
I appreciate you, and your selfless service, you know, I mean, doing these 30 days and just volunteering and to just reflect back to other people their light. That's an incredible profession you're in.
Thanks, man. It's been a lot of fun talking with everyone and getting to share, people that inspire and influence me with the rest of the world out there.
And how can people support you financially?
Oh, they can just send me money.
Okay, is there a link on your website?
There is a donate button on my website. There's a PayPal
Okay.
donate button on my website.
Well,
No one has clicked on it to donate.
Joe Longo has been focusing on other people for years, and in this last 30 days is definite. Has been a Joe Longo Seva on steroids.
It's been so much fun, though.
Click that button and support this man. He's not going out and screwing hookers and doing cocaine. You know, he's just doing humanitarian work. So help a brother out. All right.
Exactly. No cocaine and hookers. All right. So I'll end our official talk right here. Thank you.